Look, can I talk to you about crime and law and order, or lack of the latter in this country? I need to show you this video. It really stopped me in my tracks. So if you're listening on the radio, I'll describe it to you. So it's a street in broad daylight, everybody. It happens to be a DPD delivery van. Some driver is in their car and they're filming the goings-on. And you've essentially got this car that's pulled up alongside this van. And they are just a group of guys have jumped out, helping themselves to whatever it is that they can get their grubby little mitts on and load up their getaway car with. The driver just stands there looking on. I mean, he doesn't really know what to do. The person filming it tries tooting their horns. No one cares. These people don't care. They're just trying to get as much as they can because they probably think that they will get away with it. Which leads me nicely to another story, similar vein, if you like, that caught my eye, because take a look at this picture as well. This is the other end of the scale, if you like. So this is a farmer. He reckons that he's found a couple of people trespassing on his land. I need to just be a little bit mindful of this because it's an ongoing legal case. He reckons that two men were trespassing on his land. He basically got their quad bike. When they went back for it, apparently the next night, he got hold of them and he like what people are calling hog-tied them. He, did their arms, their legs, stuck them on the top of a quad bike, which is the image that you're seeing now, and set off to the police station. I mean, I will say that there is footage of the drive. He's going quite fast on a road, I've got to say. Anyway, he drove them to the police station. The farmer was then arrested. He's been accused of assault and something else, and now he is being bailed. False imprisonment, that's it.
Yep.
This one's a live case,
yep.
So I need to be a bit thingy with this one, a bit cautious. But, I mean, how far should you go to defend your property, Kelvin?
Well, one of the issues we face here, so I admire this farmer. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to him. I fear for his future, to be honest, which will be absolutely ludicrous when you think the two trespassers will probably get that when they go to court, and God knows what will happen to the farmer. But the truth about the matter is that our police force can't cope with the amount of crime that there is. That's quite clear. I mean, London is a shocking example of that. If you have a phone nicked or something, the chances of getting anybody interested in that is absolutely nil. So if that's not the case, if we can't either afford or we haven't got, for instance, as far as Labour are concerned, any particular interest in law and order, then what are you going to do? You are going to have a vigilante force. Now, there's another story running around today in Gerrard's Cross where a whole load of cars have been nicked. So they have hired private security forces. And that I could see as the great investment, if any of your viewers are thinking of backing a startup, invest in private security, because that will be the explosion that goes forward. You cannot rely on the police to cover every single aspect of crime that exists today. So to me, I give a massive thumbs up to that farmer, and I wish him well, and I honestly hope that others are like it. I went into a Boots today, and I said to them, why are all your shelves so empty? And the lady there, the manager lady there, said, well, the reason for that is not that we're destocking or we can't afford to fill up these shelves. It's because when we put them on there, what happens is people just come in and they just thieve them. And those thieves know that their chances of being arrested are nil, and the chances of getting away with it are enormous, and people have now taken crime as an essential part of filling up their families' bathrooms. Well, it is disgraceful.
Shoplifting apparently is at a 20-year high as well, according to some figures that came out today. Mike, what do you make to it all?
Well, I have no, good feelings towards this farmer, unlike you, which probably won't surprise you. I mean, the way he's behaved is appalling. I mean, genuinely appalling.
The way he's accused of behaving.
Assuming what he's accused of is what's happened, although he seems to have admitted it quite happily to the police when he went out of the police station. But anyway, we'll let this take its course. But assuming that he has done what he's accused of doing, the story is that I think one of these two young men, 17 and 20, one of them had been riding his electric bike on this person the farmer's land, which, I mean, granted, he shouldn't have done. But anyway, he did. And then the gate was locked, so he couldn't get out. So he had to leave his bike. Went back the next day, the bike wasn't there. While they were there trying to get the bike, the farmer turns up, ties him up, puts him on the quad bike. I mean, this is appalling behaviour for anybody, but particularly for these young men who were obviously terrified of what was going on with them. And they weren't even doing anything particular other than just looking to get their bike back. So genuinely quite odd behaviour.
Mike, are you genuinely appalled?
Clearly against the law on behalf of the farmer. You can't just grab two people and tie them up and stick them on a quad bike. I mean, that's utterly ludicrous. If that happened to any of us, we'd be spitting feathers, as you could probably imagine.
You would not be. You live in Hackney. You would not be walking on other people's land, would you? It'd be a very dangerous thing to do in Hackney.
No, but if I was 17 years old, maybe I would, because that's the kind of thing you do when you're 17 years old and you think it's fine.
I bet my bottom dollar, these two 17-year-olds that you're seeing here, I bet my bottom dollar they'll think more carefully going forward about where they are accused. I've got to be careful, everyone.
We have a legal structure in this country that does not involve individuals tying other people up and putting them on quad bikes and driving them through town. No. And that is a good thing, because if that was normal behaviour, none of us would walk the streets at night. It would be terrible.
Mike, have you ever been a victim
of crime? It's quite dangerous to walk the streets, even in Hackney. I have been a victim
of crime a number of times. When it comes to the police obviously have been massively underfunded for 14 years. We have a new government come in. They do care about law and order, and we will see action on that, I'm sure, in the budget and beyond the budget as well. Part of the thing that needs to happen is we need more funding going to the police. Clearly, there are problems with the police, perhaps particularly in London. Obviously, there have been terrible stories about the Met in the last few years. That's a leadership problem.
Well, there's a terrible story involving somebody from London right now. His name's
the number of police officers went down by 20,000 between 2010, when the Conservatives got in, 2019. It's since gone up a bit, but it hasn't got back up that full 20,000. But one of the other problems is the Conservatives didn't just get rid of police officers, they also got rid of a lot of backroom staff. So it meant that even when you're adding police numbers back in, you didn't have the backroom staff there that supported them doing their work.
Are you suggesting that even if we doubled the number, my point is,
no, I'm saying
no matter how many
police
officers we have,
you need the backroom staff so that police officers can be on the street. I'm just saying, you need the police officers on the street to enable that. You need the backroom staff who can do the office job, so the police officers can be out and about stopping crime.
Do you know what I feel that there's a sense of? I talk to you guys every day. It's a privilege to do so. There's a real sense in this country at the moment that too much of the sympathies in this country lay with the perpetrators of crime, and not enough sympathies in this country lay with the victims. So we're always very fast to talk about the human rights of whether it's prisoners or whatever. But actually, people in this country should have a human right to go about their business, to maintain a business, a home, a property, whatever it is, without having this risk of constantly having their stuff nicked, having their property damaged, having themselves, their persons assaulted, and actually feeling that when any of the above happen, that there will be a reasonable response when it comes to law and order, and the person, the perpetrator, being caught and punished. People don't have that sense anymore. When you're burgled or whatever, you go through this whole process of ringing up the police to get a crime number for your insurance. The only thing you really achieve there is your insurance premiums go sky high. People don't investigate things like burglary and stuff like that anymore. No. Bike theft, forget about it. And it's people have had enough of it, Kelvin.
And that's what I didn't like about your response. I quite understand that somebody from the left would be appalled by all this. But what I didn't like was when you started saying, wouldn't it be terrible to be 17 or 20 and be assaulted in this way? The truth about the matter is, I don't give a damn about those kids. They shouldn't have been on that land. They knew they shouldn't have been on that land. What the hell were they doing on that land?
They not known that they shouldn't be on that land. I mean, I don't...
Honestly? On farmland?
Well, the peace document doesn't say whether they knew they should be on there or whether they shouldn't.
I know our education system isn't great, but even everybody would know that this was somebody else's land.
Treated like that. And to argue that the farmer was a victim of crime, he wasn't a victim of crime. Anybody normal would just say, get off my land.
No,
you know,
no.
Why?
How do you know how many times people had been quotes on his land?
Well,
this is his land.
That doesn't justify him breaking the law in the way that he is alleged to have done.
And that is the reason why people feel, while your viewers feel like that, because there are people of the left like you who actually are always more worried about the kids, right, rather than worried about the farmer. Honestly,
I mean, he should clearly know better than to behave in that manner, and I suspect he'll learn his lesson. person.
Some people will think that you're living in a cloud cuckoo land, because if you're suggesting...
That's fine.
But if you're suggesting...
He lives in Hackney.
But if you're suggesting that... and I'm making it not about, deliberately making it not about this case, but if you're suggesting that wrong-uns who decide to torment a neighbourhood and all the rest of it, they're in and out your property, they're creating mayhem, mischief and all that, if you're honestly suggesting that you open your door and go, hi guys, can you stop doing that? And they go, yeah, OK then, cheers mate, and off they jog. Life is not like that.
I mean, I don't know why you're...
People get pushed to the end of their tether.
Why do you think that's what I'm saying? That's clearly not what I'm saying.
You just said if these people were on their land, you could have asked them to get off and they would have done.
These two young men were walking on a field trying to find a bike. They weren't causing anybody any harm. According to the information that I have, they were not causing mayhem.
Why couldn't they find their bike?
I don't know. Somebody had moved it. Presumably, the farmer had moved it, which counts as theft, which is another reason why he would be in the wrong, if that's what happened.
I'm sure it can't be theft on your own property. That would be ridiculous.
Because it's not his bike.
No, but the bottom line is you have no sympathy for the farmer and every sympathy for these kids.
I don't have any sympathy for the farmer.
On that basis, by the way.
All he had to do was say...
Law and order under Labour. If you are representing law and order under Labour,
I'm not representing law and order under Labour, clearly.
Right, quickly then, because we need to go to break. What did he need to do? Tell everyone, when you've got, if you're someone who has repeat trespassers on your land, you tell them what is it they need to do.
Why are you assuming he's had repeat...
I'm not talking about this farmer, I'm talking life in general. So when somebody has trespassers or people making a menace of their homes or whatever, their neighbourhoods, you tell these people what do they need to do.
Well, in another instance, with a hypothetical farmer, I would advise said farmer to tell the people to get off the land and to tell them that they are trespassing. If it becomes an ongoing problem, then maybe they should increase their security arrangements, or maybe they should call the police.
I want to move into your land because it sounds your world.
Yeah,
it sounds
you're really welcome. You're really welcome in my back garden anytime you like.
I do. I want to come and live in your world.
I would extend that invitation right now.
I'm going to send that farmer round there.
Well, yeah. I mean, what a wonderful world it would be if all of these people that are doing wrong, you just merely open your window and say, guys, do you mind?
I mean, last thought on this, I'm genuinely staggered that you're sitting there saying, yeah, it's fine for somebody to just tie up teenagers and chuck them on the back of a quad bike. I find that deeply strange.
Let me tell you something now, right? If my teenager came home and said, Mum, some fella has hog-tied me and driven me around the streets on his quad bike, my first reaction would not be, oh my God, let me track that fella down. My first reaction would be, what on earth have you been doing to have put yourself in that situation? My child would be in an awful lot of bother when I found out that he had been trespassing. That's what would happen in my household, I can tell you that.
Well,
given my kids only 4,
I am not here to comment on your parenting choices.
I can tell you this society could do with a lot more parents like me, I can tell you that for free. But anyway, look,